following program on Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations. We would like to remind our viewers that the views expressed in this program by our participating guests are solely viewpoints of them who take part, and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network.
Welcome down to Gen XYZ right here on Derana 24. Well, today we bring to you something very, very important. Social media, well, it has definitely taken over the world. It's taken over Sri Lanka. It's taken over our lives as well. And I think where it started was during COVID-19. Well, today we've actually grown into it. Today we love it so much. And we tend to sort of, use it a little too much. Okay, 80% of our life is literally surrounding digital. And this is one such platform. And this is TikTok, right? We're going to talk about TikTok with the only person. This is Feroz Motakin. I think that's how I pronounce your name. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right,
yeah.
super. He's the head of public policy and government relationships for South Asia in TikTok. Well, thank you so much once again for joining us today.
Thanks
on
for having me here.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I know TikTok is something that we all very much loved. What was your love to TikTok? How did that start?
Well, thanks for having me here, and really looking forward to share my understanding and here in Colombo a couple of times. I love this place, love the city, and love the vibe of the younger generations. See, TikTok is something that is mainly meant for creativity and expression. I think me coming from an ICT and telecom background, I always envisioned to see how I can contribute more. And what would be the best place than TikTok when it comes on exponential growth, giving democratic voice over internet for every people in the world, and giving them an opportunity to create things, talk about things that they love about. So over the past few years, as you know, that TikTok has grown quite large, including in Sri Lanka. And the love for TikTok is not just yours or billions of other users, but also mine. Mm-hmm. Though I'm not as creative as many of you, I don't have that sort of creativity as such, but I do admire the way that TikTok operates. And that's perhaps the reason why I've been part of it for almost 4 years now.
Yeah. All right, that's amazing. Do you make TikToks here and there? Be honest.
Well, as I mentioned, I really wish that I could be as creative as like you or many of our friends in the industry or in the country. I'm not really that creative, so I don't really produce content, but I do consume a lot of content.
That's good. You should try. We should do a TikTok today.
I can try without a problem. And I really like the way that our content creators really sort of bring live in front of the camera, sort of putting up all of their thoughts, creativity. Each of them has turned to be a script writer, a presenter, an actor, director, producer, light man, cameraman. Yeah. It's a massive, right? So this transition actually is something that really we are proud about.
Mm-hmm, that's amazing. Now, obviously, you came into Sri Lanka, and why you come quite often to Sri Lanka as well. That's what I hear from the inside sources. But why Sri Lanka? Why do you actually have this under your belt as well, and why do you take care of it as well and nurture it? Because we do have quite a lot of TikTok talent here, right? Why is it that you've chosen Sri Lanka?
Well, I think we have to understand that Sri Lanka has really wider range of talents here. When it comes on creativity, creative economy, when it comes to the talents, Sri Lanka has the highest literacy rate across South Asia, one of the highest. And the people are tech savvy, they are very prone and used to digital platforms. What could be a more ideal countries than Sri Lanka?
Right.
Now, it also comes with responsibility, right? So we look at how we can curate this particular country. We can help our creators. We can help them to develop a creative economy. So working here, coming and joining hands with the young, talented creators, or anyone from any source of society's stakeholder, we wanted to give them a better opportunity. So providing them capacity building opportunity, providing them more options to explore the world, interact with other creators, other part of the world, and of course making them more responsible use of our platform. That's perhaps one of the key reasons that we do come visit quite often. But also, see, every country has its own cultural, sort of differences. There is, Sri Lanka has very unique positions across South Asia. We also want to respect that cultural window that Sri Lanka possesses. And that requires understanding about the local norms, local regulations, laws, local context. And this only happens when you come and interact with your stakeholders.
Yeah.
So we, not just me, our team members do visits quite frequently to interact with creators, interact with wider ecosystem, interact with government, law enforcement agencies. So it all encapsulates toward the direction of how do we ensure that the country itself gets mature in terms of utilizing the platform in a more meaningful way. This is why we are here on a regular basis, and we love it. And amazing weather.
Amazing weather.
The food.
That's the first time.
Well, I live in Dubai. Trust me, it's
quite
very,
hot, yeah.
very, very different. Yeah.
I mean, that's brilliant. But,
yeah.
you know, I think during COVID is where we all sort of like immersed into TikTok. I was one such person as well, because you had nothing to do, you know, day in, afternoon, night, you name it. I was just, okay, what do I do next? What's happening? I know it's a lot of dark stuff happening out there in the world, but I just want to like distract myself for a little bit at least and just, you know, just stroll through. How was that like, you know, in terms of impacting that society as well, mainly in terms of the youth during that period?
Well, I think TikTok actually has transformed a lot of, not just youth, but also for anyone and everyone during that particular period of time. We wanted to do our bit of contribution. We not just enable people to be coming to the platform, but also enable them to be more, find a more meaningful way of interacting in digital platform. If you recall, that is a time when we worked a lot around building awareness on COVID-19, building awareness on vaccinations. There were a lot of misinformations were spreading across. We played quite a substantial role jointly with UN agencies, World Health Organizations, not just in Sri Lanka, across the world. We also have worked with finding avenues how someone sitting at home can also be more productive and creative so that they don't fall into the loop of challenges, mental health. That is a time when most of us was going through a lot of trauma. So it was also an avenue where we wanted to make sure that we keep our users, our creator community more engaged, more active, more lively. It gives life and meaning of life to many. I give an example. A couple of months ago, I was traveling from Kathmandu to Dubai. I met with a lady sitting just beside me, and she said her horrific stories during the COVID of having family issues, and she was about to commit suicide, and how TikTok transformed her life, and how she has turned to be a mere user to a very important influencer on meditation. She was in Kathmandu to conduct sessions. Now she has over 4 million followers and she earns through TikTok. She's a single mother, and that has transformed the life. For 3.5 hours, she was talking about her journey. And this is not just her. If you look at in your surroundings, you will find hundreds and thousands of similar stories. And these stories are not something that we created by ourselves. What we did is we brought a platform that gives you the power, the opportunity for you to be creative, you to be more engaged, you to be earning from it, and you to be exploring your possibilities. This is why we call it TikTok is a platform of creative economy. And globally we are. And we're proud of that.
I like the way you put it there, creative economy.
Well, it is.
It definitely is. Now, I think that's also something very important, right? Because I think Sri Lankans who went very viral on TikTok during this period of COVID-19, we also had a different circumstance where we went through, economic turmoil. And during this time, this was a mode where we actually got financing. This is because monetization was coming directly from TikTok. So how do you see that being, very much in terms of like stabilizing a country, stabilizing a person's well-being as well, all through this amazing creative platform we call it TikTok? How do you find that?
Well, I think you framed it really right. I think the strength of the platform is our creators. They are the reason that we work every day, and we wanted to make sure that the platform stays alive. I think globally, if you see, there are a lot of reason to be upset, to be unhappy. How can we be a complete opposite reason? How can we be a reason of living here joyfully? I mean, we call it TikTok is a platform which inspire creativity and bring joy. So eventually, we want to inspire our users, our creators, so that their life become joyful. But joy also needs economic opportunities, economic freedoms. Joy also needs an opportunity for you to express your thoughts, your opinion. In a democratic society, it is very, very crucial and vital. During the economic downturn in Sri Lanka, we were very active there. Of course, everyone suffered, including us, but it wasn't a reason for us to step back and not to do things. That was a time when we engaged with our creators. We did a lot of capacity development session. We actually found a surge, increased number of users of TikTok during that time for promoting products. Small, medium enterprises, this small cottage, small restaurants, home chefs, or home bakers. They were promoting their products, their homemade foods, their small creative activities through our platforms. See, we wanted to be proactively enabling them on financial means as well, as because we knew that there is a crisis going on. If we are able to contribute a little bit, at least end of the day, we would be very proudly say that yes, there was a crisis, but we did our bit. And I think everyone should be, at least I personally am very proud of that.
Yeah.
During the time I was here for a couple of times, and I've seen how things has been shaping up in overall circumstances here.
During the turmoil, you mean?
Yes.
You were here during the turmoil?
I was here during the turmoil. I was here almost in all major events here in the last couple of years. But I do admire the resilience that the Sri Lankan has, the understanding, the depth of patriotism, courage. And this is really something that you should be proud of.
Yeah.
You should celebrate that. Yeah.
I think we Sri Lankans as a whole has definitely celebrated it as well. I think TikTok played a very vital role there because, there was so much misinformation, whether it be on social media, on television, or whatever it is. It was so much what's happening because there was things happening everywhere, right? Yeah. And then I think TikTok is something else there as well, which I want to mention, is in terms of something you mentioned very keyly, is that there was a lot of misinformation with regards to during COVID-19 as well, and even presently there's a lot of misinformation because it is a very creative space, but which means what I think I can put it out there. But it doesn't mean that it's right. Correct. It doesn't also mean that it's wrong.
Absolutely.
Right? So someone else feeding it would be like, okay, he's saying this. Okay, she's saying that. What is the right thing? It
Correct.
also perplexes you into being discombobulated. Like you don't know what is the right thing. So how do you see navigating this part of things?
Yeah, this is a very good question. Thanks for bringing it up. And this is a question that is globally discussed. Yeah. It's not a Sri Lankan phenomenon. It's a global phenomenon. misinformation, disinformation is something that hurts all of us, whether we as a platform provider, whether you as a content creator or a content consumer, or whether you are just a normal person, doesn't have anything to do with it. I think this is something that we have been proactively addressing on the capacity that we have. Misinformation, disinformation, it's kind of like a disease. And this can be solved, this cannot be solved only by us. We do our bit, but we also need everyone to join hands. We have a very dedicated fact-checking networks that works for us in Sri Lanka as well. And those fact-checkers are there to look at all the vital facts when it comes on anything that is creating a flag, creating a divide in terms of the facts, factual informations. We also have our internal capacity on fact-checking and misinformation controls. Now, we do the best in our capacity we can, but we also want people to be, the users on digital platform, to be more responsible. I think in many cases what we have seen that people are spreading rumors, misinformation unknowingly. You know, you've seen something, you liked it, you forward it to all of your friends. So unknowingly you actually have been a reason of spreading misinformation. Now, give a pause. Think whether this particular piece of information is actually correct. If it is, then share it. I think it's for everyone's benefit. If you have a doubt, don't do it. Give a pause. Check whether it's valid. Now, this is where I think the young generations plays a very vital role. I think the younger generations are more toward facts, more toward not just creativity, but also looking at expanding the horizon of their own boundaries. Now, this is where getting the feedback, getting the voice from young users, youths, Gen Zs, really plays a substantial differences. We have been really very actively looking at how best we can control those misinformations by not just engaging with the fact checkers or by increasing our internal resources, but also with partnering with news agencies, medias, partnering with law enforcement agencies. But nothing is enough unless and otherwise we make the other stakeholder aware. And the largest stakeholder is the user here. I think we do have capacity development, awareness related activities that we are planning to execute in Sri Lanka, not just on misinformation, but also as a whole on how we can help promoting safer internet or safer uses of digital platforms. We call it internet hygiene. Like the way that you learn from very early stage of your life, how to brush your teeth, and it's very hygienic, you have to wash your hand. You also have to learn how to be, the basic etiquettes and internet hygiene, so that you know what you shall do or you shall not do. Main challenge is when you do things without knowing, unintentionally, but it actually has a subsequent consequences. That's where we wanted to help preventing. But the other part, which is like intentionally spreading misinformation, this is where those other mechanisms of fact-checking really plays a role.
First, I'm just going to cut you off there a little bit, right? Now, it's very contradictory when you say that, okay? Because yes, everyone is responsible. Like I could be responsible because I'm mature and I've reached a certain age. But there are people, and your major users are actually youngsters who have no idea whether this is a responsible thing that's going to happen, right? We'll talk a little bit more on that side, but until then, we're going to jump into a short commercial break. And in case you're wondering what we're going to talk about, it is all things TikTok in Sri Lanka. Welcome back to Gen XYZ, where we're in conversation with Feroz. Well, think Ferdoz, right? There you go. I killed his name.
Don't worry. It's all good.
Well, honestly, thank you so much for doing this with us, because, you know, TikTok is a conversation that we usually don't have, right? And we're talking about someone who is literally in the epicenter of controlling, navigating, and so much more as well, and keeping that relationship with governments and countries. So thank you very much once again for doing this with us.
Pleasure.
And I think something in the previous one that we spoke about was in terms of responsibility, right? Me as a youth member, or you as a person, can definitely be responsible. You know what kind of content that you're putting out there, because you know the rule book. There is no rule book on TikTok, right? You don't know if you're actually responsible, because we're talking about the majority of them are teenagers who are still figuring out life and so forth, right? So what are the navigation, or rather the boundaries or the guidelines that you have for them, so they know they're responsible, you know, users of even sharing a piece of content that they relate to, but it could be, you know, creating a rumor or, you know, causing more problems, misinformation. How do you navigate that?
Well, this is really fundamental, and this is very important for everyone to understand and everyone to know. And this is our responsibility as well, to make the user aware. There are definite rule books, and there are very global standard, very robust rule books, which we call community guideline. So TikTok operates, the entire mechanism of TikTok operates within the framework of community guideline. So the community guideline, it's kind of like a basic book, what it says do's and don'ts. If you do some of the don'ts, then you get, either your content gets removed, your account gets banned or flagged, you are not able to participate into many of the activities, hashtags, and competitions, etc., etc., etc. So the community guideline is something that we always take as the forward, as sort of the rule book for us and for the creators to operate or interact with the platform. Now, this rule book or community guideline also are customized based on local nuances, cultural norms, such as in Sri Lanka, the community guideline has been customized based on the culture here, based on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. One example is skin exposure, right? We don't allow a lot of skin exposure in Sri Lanka and some other places on the earth. But in many cases, in many countries, the skin exposure is allowed to some certain degree. Now, in every aspect, if any content that are possibly creating harm for the user, whether it is about creating something which is offensive, which is hateful, which is misinformation or untruth, which is promoting things which are obscene, nudity, these are absolutely no-go in our platforms. You can try. Those will not, you will not get past. I'm not talking about you, but
no.
And trust me.
I mean,
in the last quarter itself, the first quarter of this year, we actually proactively removed 4.6 million videos by us proactively. And if you look into this 4.6 million videos, these are somehow what either are part of those boundaries that we have created. So the rule books are there, and there are very robust moderation and filtering techniques available there. But fundamentally, I think what we have to do more is bring awareness to our users, something that we have started doing. We have taken some initiatives to make sure that there are simplistic way of transferring those messages to the younger audiences and older audiences. But of course, there is no finish line. You know, this sort of this hurdle between bad and good. That's always something that we do on daily basis and continuously push our boundaries. And I think so far the platform has been very, very good as it performs right now in Sri Lanka. But of course, as I mentioned, there is no hard line. There is no finish line. We will continuously work on those areas.
All right, that's amazing. Now, something else that I want to touch base is in terms of, you mentioned, you know, certain parts of your skin or a lot of your skin or your percentage of skin can't be exposed, right? But There's something called a trend, okay, because the thing is, like, the world follows what's been thought. Social media is what they go through it, right? So if the world says, plumpy lips is a very attractive sentiment, we're not born with plumpy lips, okay? And then they end up, this is what beauty is, this is what standard is. And that's something that I think the older generation, I think, is trying to sort of look down on TikTok, look down on social media in general, because it says, this is not beauty. This is not your teacher. We have teachers to teach you certain things. This is wrong information. This does not set standards. That is a reality, right? Because we all think, okay, this is real beauty. Good looking lips, this is what real beauty is. And if we don't have it, we go and enhance them, unnaturally. And it affects us as well. So what do you have to say about this? Because I think this is something very, very crucial that all the youth members are actually following. Trend.
Yeah. So anything that falls under any harm to individuals, whether it is by enhancing any of your body parts, whether if something which is harmful for any individuals, we do not promote that. But at the same time, globally, we do not also want to stop you to accept some of the trends and patterns and some of those components associated to beautifications. Now, how do we navigate whether it is appropriate within a certain geography? Like in Sri Lanka, we look into multiple components. One is there any legislative framework? Is there any law saying that you shall do it? Then we'll follow it. If the cultural context does not allow you to do it, we don't do it. We do not let people to do it. Or if it is something like medically proven this is really harmful for individual, absolutely no go. We will not allow it to do it. But then something in between the lines, I don't know an example, but if in between the lines, if it is something that has absolutely no harm on individuals, and it's something part of the beautification of an individual's, then yes, we do offer and we do allow it in the platform. Now, what you promote and what we allow may be different. We do not promote proactively a lot of things, but we do allow a lot of things. Being a global platform, we have our global best practices and we have our global standard of upholding. Right. While we also wanted to ensure that we do not affect or challenge the local cultural norms or we challenge the local legislation. We don't do that. And we operate in between the line.
Okay, that's very, I think you just gave me a very diplomatic answer there.
But look, this is not really, I wouldn't say this is diplomatic. Let's have a example. Now, a lot of people wear same color like shirts and trousers. White, black, red, pink, yellow. To many, that is like, oh, is this person mentally challenged? Why is it wearing this? But to many, it's actually something very normal because his family allows it, his society allows it. So the cultural appropriation is something that is a very fluidic component. If it is medically harmful, absolutely no go, as I mentioned. But if it is medically acceptable and there are cultural nuances which represents majority of the people's voice, then it is, yes, okay. We do allow.
So I think let's take it down to Sri Lanka, right? I think a very major problem that we have in Sri Lanka presently is in terms of whitening products, right? Medically, according to the government, it does not actually have any restrictions. But medically, in the world as well in the stand, it is not safe. But we have these products being, promoted very widely, especially on TikTok. What do you have to say about this? There's no fluidity here, basically. It's.
So you see, it's not a controlled goods. Yeah. So as long as it's not a controlled goods, and as long as it is, if any product is approved by the relevant authority or standardization entity, we do not have any reason of restricting those products. Now, whether we promote it, that's a different question. as I mentioned, promotion and allow are two different things. Promotion is something someone pays us as an advertisement to promote it. We have a very different stand. Like, for example, not just about these particular products, there are many products.
Yeah.
Many of those product line we don't promote, part of our advertisement initiatives, but we allow. Why? Is because someone has done it, and someone which is crowd, someone which is a user, a creator, not an institution putting up a paid advertisement. So there are different stands, but as long as it is legally allowed, we will follow it. We will do it. We'll allow it.
Okay. All right. All right. Honestly, it's
another example.
Yeah, okay.
Piercing. Okay.
Yeah.
Piercing. A lot of people does piercing, right?
Mm.
You may not like it. A lot of people may not like it, but it can be tagged as something which is fashionable, trendy, and it hasn't been proven to be
dangerous.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
So, shall we allow it or shall we not allow it? So, if all the other checkbook says, yes, it's medically proven not dangerous, yes, it is acceptable, and it is something that people take as a part of fashion. We don't think we are a platform who wants to curtail your test. So we are a platform to give a democratic voice to the creators, whoever wants to use and create things, as long as it's not dangerous. Like, for example, we do not allow dangerous acts. Like, if someone is doing stunts, like with a motorbike, with water sports, stunts, which is like really serious stunts, we don't allow. If the creator is not registered, or if the creator is not performing that stunts under a specific supervision, a professional supervision, and if the creator is not a designated stunt creator, we won't allow that content because it is promoting dangerous acts.
Firdaus, how long does it take? Now, for example, if you take Sri Lanka, right? How long does it take if someone's actually promoting or doing all of these dangerous stunts with motorbikes and so forth? How long does it take for you to flag it and shut it down?
See, for my last quarters, we do provide all of those numbers in our quarterly reports. Most cases, 85% and above cases, this content never gets published. If it is. And there are certain cases, this content gets published, and then when it goes to the human moderations, because at first the moderation processes, at first it goes to machine moderation, and then it goes to human moderations.
Right.
So if some of this content, which machine has approved, but when it goes to the human moderations, it actually gets removed in 24 hours. So we remove almost 100% content which is harmful for the platform and for the user within 24 hours. And most of those cases, as I said, more than 85% cases, those content gets removed instantly and it doesn't get really uploaded.
Okay.
And the more the content gets viewed, the more stricter measures that we bring. Yeah. Because the more it gets viewed, that means the content has more influences over other receivers or consumers, right? So we make a more further restricting mechanism we bring up so that the content gets very thoroughly reviewed in terms of content, in terms of local laws, in terms of cultural nuances. All those things are there.
All right. I think something that I personally want to know as well is with regards to how and what is that algorithm secret to really break it out there in the internet. But we'll talk a little bit more on the other side just after a short commercial break. We're in conversation with all things about TikTok right here on Other Derana 24. Welcome back to Gen XYZ right here on Other Than 24. We're in conversation with all things about TikTok. Well, I think I spoke to you as well priorly in terms of that little secret. I want to know what the secret is, because you literally work in the BTS of everything. You literally work with the regulations and everything. Everyone wants to know, what is that secret in the algorithm features to really break it on the internet? Because, we have some very weird videos that really break the internet. What is that little secret that we can actually live
Well,
for?
I think if you ask me, I don't know what it is. But I can tell you a few things. One is, it's not an art, it's a complete science. So our recommendation engine works based on uniqueness, unique ideas, unique way of representing content, unique type of areas of content creation. Once those uniqueness comes together, it actually hits to that ground and it promotes the content to a very wider audiences. Now, it is all about content creations and associated uniqueness. So the old style of being like, with due respect to everyone, news presenters, we have seen that in the old days in the public TVs, the news presenters are like really sitting and looking at the camera. And,
robots, basically.
So those days are over. So it's all about now, how do you represent yourself in such a way, or your thoughts in such a way, which is unique. The more unique the content and the more consistently you create those unique content, the more a better reach that you will get. It's the content distribution mechanisms that we have are based on sciences, people's preferences, and the content's uniqueness. That's all. That's it. That's all about the secret sauce of the distribution platform of it. Yeah.
Firdaus, are you sure about it?
I am pretty sure. Well, I tell you, in Singapore we have a center. It's called Transparency and Accountability Center, TSC.
Okay.
In that center, we actually demonstrate our content distribution samples. Most welcome to visit and also extend your this invite to all of your audiences as well. Whenever you're in Singapore next time, do reach out to our Transparency Center, book an appointment, go and see. You would personally experience how this whole distribution thing works. It's pure science that is layered with unique ideas, unique presentation, and unique way of delivering it. In terms of like topic selection and the videography itself. The more time that you put in terms of content curation, content creation, the better reach it will get.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
All right, guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Oh, okay. How many pieces of content do you think one must actually publish? Because if you put it constantly, it's also going to fade out, right? How many pieces of content?
Can you repeat that question?
How many pieces of content? For example, you have the wall on TikTok.
Okay.
If you constantly do a TikTok every single day, it's going to fade out, right? It's not really going to get you that traction. Or do you need to put unique 2 or 3 pieces? How does it work?
Actually, consistency is important. But when I say consistency, it means you do not change the categories every now and then. Let's say you are a sports enthusiast, right? So you consistently hammer on sports-related content creation. Then what would happen is you would be tagged as a sports content creator, and your content would be channeled through the consumer who loves sports content. So your eventual opportunity of increasing viewership is higher. But if you do a sports content today, and tomorrow fashion content, and day after tomorrow food content, and the following day maybe natural beauties, then eventually you don't have a niche audiences. So this is very important to be consistent in terms of picking up a category. In terms of the frequency, you would know your audience. You would actually know how frequently your audience wants you to publish your content. And this is not one way. This is not that you just push the content and done. Don't engage with your audience. Then it won't work. You also have to engage with your audiences, hear their voice, and if they want you to publish content daily basis, do it on daily basis. If they want your content once in a week, do it once in a week. If they want you to content 3 times in a day, do it 3 times in a day.
But does it work though? If you put a piece of content every single day?
There is no hard and fast rule. As I said, listen to the expectation from your audience.
From your audience,
Yes. the moment you will identify your audience, your niche audience, the particular group that are consuming your content or watching your content, giving feedbacks, you'll actually know your audiences as well. You will know what this audience is actually asking about, talking about. So this both-way communications are extremely important. And you'll get to know at some point, you'll know that whether your audience wants your content every day or once in a week or 3 times in a day.
Okay.
You will get to know that.
All right. This is a very important one that I really want to know, right? Because you are an insider of social media. Are there certain pieces of content or users that you find, okay, maybe this one's really good, and then you do put in your influence in terms of boosting it more to the viewers? Is this a real thing? Does it happen?
No, we don't do that. We don't do that. In no occasions we do that. We see as a global entity, there are a lot of check and balance that we have to go through. So we cannot do injustice to any individual content creators or give a preference over a content creators to someone over all others. But what we do is we have content creators who works with us to understand how they can develop a certain categories of content. For example, in Sri Lanka, there are fashion creators, there are sports creators, there are food creators or food bloggers, there are handicrafts, there are teachers. There are many of them. They actually work with us. Working with us means like they reach out to us for ideas, for inspirations. We have a content operations team that also handholds many of those content creators. And we don't pick them. They sometimes reach out to us, sometimes we reach out to them, depending on what sort of contents are coming up. And then we sort of help them to navigate around how they can create content.
Yeah.
But this is where we only play a role of helping them how to can create a content. And we also have a lot of internal depositories, like how to create content. There are a lot of literacy in the platform. I think if any of the content creators are able to follow those, uniqueness, don't worry about the reach. Automatically reach will happen. This is where TikTok is very good at. We don't have to do anything from our side. Your content will speak and your content will be pushed. Except for the public service announcement, like during the election season, we wanted to push these public service announcements like electoral laws, do this, do not do this. Or let's say natural calamities, let's say some earthquake happens, tsunami happens, flood happened. These are the time when we do proactive promotion on public service announcement driven content. It's because we want our creators, our users to be aware about the circumstances or the situations in the macro level, but we do not promote an individual content creator.
Okay. You can also boost on TikTok, right? Paid boosting. Is it a thing on TikTok?
That is only available. It's not available in Sri Lanka.
It's not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
When is it going to be available in Sri Lanka?
So the content boosting is not something that we have.
Okay.
So what we have is sales promotion.
Right.
And these sales promotions are tagged with brands.
Right.
So that is open now. So now any brands can promote their product and services.
Collaboration basis, right?
With us. And this is a similar structure that you put an advertisement, paid advertisement. So this is a paid advertisement that the brands can do. But individually, no, you cannot do. You cannot promote or your product, your services, or your content. Those are not available. Those are not available here, or those are not available anywhere.
Right.
You being an individual content creator are not allowed to boost your content. You will not be able to get there. You have to only hammer on your creativity and uniqueness. The more you are unique, the more you will get there. And trust me, there are amazing creators out here. I mean, a couple of months ago, we had sort of a small gathering and celebration around 200 creators from Sri Lanka. Amazing creators. We actually have featured them. A lot of them has been featured in various magazines. We also have invited a lot of them to our office in Dubai. And many of the content creators, you'd be surprised that because we are part of many of the global things, this year from our global network of content creators, 25 were given the opportunity to attend the Cannes Festival, We give,
Really? Okay.
25 the content creators
Right.
across the world. Actually, 2 came from South Asia,
Okay.
based on their merit. We do provide the sports creator to go and enjoy some of the global tournaments. We invite them to join some of the global festivals of sports events, whether it is award show, whether it is tournaments. So there are a lot of things where we engage with our creators to encourage them to get global influences, to understand what is happening in the wider ecosystem. This is where we're good at. So don't focus about paid boosting like many other platforms. Focus on your uniqueness. The more unique content you will bring, consistency and uniqueness is the 2 key things that I would suggest to any content creator in Sri Lanka or anywhere in the world.
All right. So what I gathered from the entire thing that you just gave me, I was like, okay, uniqueness plus uniqueness equals the trend. You're going to be a trendsetter as soon as you follow this little
Consistency
formula.
and uniqueness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very, very, very important, I think, that you actually mentioned that as well. Because today, everyone wants to be an influencer, right? And they want that little secret that's going to like really break them through, and that's going to give them the monetization and so forth, okay? I'm talking Sri Lanka. I'm not talking about, maybe in another country too, but mainly right here. Because Sri Lanka is a very, interesting country. I'm not going to lie. I love the country. That's one of the reasons. Because it's a fruit salad of many different things. We're very creative. That's the whole point of things. So we do have a lot of comedians that are TikTokers as well. So where do we see, these creative bunches of Sri Lankans in terms of their growth factor? And what are you doing in terms of making that growth factor for them as well? Personally, for their professional life, and as well as for, their image as TikTokers?
This is really great question. In one side, what we call is creator economy, right? How do you ensure that the creators or creative individuals are part of a growth trajectory, whether in their own space or in their profession? And so this is where we do handhold the individual creators. We give them opportunity, we give them exposure. We also give them the potential brand collaboration. In many countries, we have offered a lot of brand collaborations for a lot of those unique creators. And the number is not just 1 or 2, it's hundreds and thousands, including here in Sri Lanka. So I think what would really look at is, when you look at our creators, we look at our creators from end to end. We wanted to give them an opportunity so that they can get into a wider, broader ecosystem. A lot of our content creators are not just, just a content creators or, media influencers, but now they are part of the very wide global ecosystem. Whether it is someone who is stand-up comedian, or whether who is someone working on creating short films. This short films, global competitions, we are one of the major stake into it. We do encourage our creators to enter into 2-minute short form videos. We give them this opportunity so that they can go into these global competitions as well. So from our side, there is a whole bunch of suite of support mechanisms available if anyone wants to avail. But then that commitment has to be there. And we see a lot of young, talented creators from Sri Lanka are joining hands with us, working with us, getting supports in terms of ideas, getting supports around what is that the global trends are or regional trends are, and they're doing amazing work. But we don't confine ourselves to any certain numbers. We don't say like we'll work with 100 creators or 1,000 creators. We'd like to work with everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Now, not always we would be able to give you a phone call, but then we would be able to create a depository of knowledge where if you go and do a sort of a research and search, you will get to know a lot of tutorials, a lot of content that are created by us to help the content creators. Sri Lanka is a unique country and I love it. The food, amazing food, I love it too. And the diversity that it gives, the history, the rich history, the cultural diversity, the natural beauties. I would say it's a goldmine of content creator.
I think a gold mine of talent. Is,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Content creator, they all are talented people, not like me.
You're talented. I'm going to go and like search your page on TikTok today. Like,
No,
is he on TikTok?
Well, I think you will find me, but you won't find just my name. Because I'm not as talented as you guys are, so I'm not good at content creation. Having said that, we look forward to work more in the country with all the talented creators here. We are here not for a specific one milestone. Rather, we want to be a part of the entire ecosystem in Sri Lanka. And it's a platform for everyone. And we inspire creativity because we want all of our platform users to get joy. That's really fundamentally
what TikTok is all about. Well,
absolutely.
Thank you very much, by the way, for that amazing conversation. I think quite a lot of secrets were also revealed. Maybe secrets, maybe not, but I think the formula was a very good formula. But I want one final thing before we end and conclude today. One word that you would actually keep that would resonate with all of the TikTok users or potential TikTok users as well. What is that one word? I think I have a hindrance of this though, but okay.
No, I won't talk about TikTok users. I will talk about generic internet user.
Okay.
Or social media user. Be responsible when you use the platform. Social media does never forget you or forgive you. Remember, the content that you post today will remain there for years to come. So be responsible when you're interacting in the social media so that you keep yourself safe, you keep yourself inspired, you keep yourself more active, and you keep yourself relevant. So that's the only thing that I would say. And this is not just in TikTok, but any social media or any digital platform. And this is the final thing that I always say to my audiences.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much once again for having that little amazing conversation, by the way. With that, this is, of course, all of the things that you need to know when it comes to TikTok, right? But until then, don't forget, we'll be back on Gen XYZ with a different episode and a different insight as well, with a conglomerate in the industry, or even you, the voices of Sri Lanka as well as the society. But until then, don't forget, do send in your feedback on feedback.ad24english@derana.lk or on a WhatsApp line on 076 805 7933 are the numbers. Well, with that, see you on a different episode, and thank you very much. Have yourselves a beautiful night.
The lights, your face, your eyes, exploding like fireworks in the sky. Sapphire, touching on your body while you're pushing on me. Don't you in the party? I could do this all week. We'll be dancing till the morning, go to bed, we won't sleep. Chumma, kiss it, daddy, body, touching on your body while you're pushing on me. Don't you in the party? I could do this all week. We'll be dancing till the morning, go to bed, we won't sleep. Chumma, kiss it, daddy, body. Look what we found. Karma reached out into our hearts and pulled us to our feet now. You know the truth is, we could disappear anywhere as long as I got you there. When the sun dies, till the day shines. When I'm with you, there's not enough time. You are my